In Bharatavarsha, art was never just for the sake of art. It was rooted in Adhyatma. Bharatanatyam, one of the most distilled and perfected art forms of this land, is meant to transcend the artist and the audience from the physical to the emotional to eventually the spiritual plane. Come along and explore how, at Vidyakshetra, we approach the teaching of Bharatanatyam with the same bhava. Dwarita Vishwanatha, the Bharatanatyam Kala at Vidyakshetra, will tell you she's done nothing much. This, after being awarded titles like Prajnapida, Natyavivardhini, and Kala Yogi. She holds a PhD, two master's degrees, one in Sanskrit and one in Bharatanatyam, and has authored a book too. She keeps these laurels tucked away and dances and teaches like a gracious bhakta. As Munitanna looked for the right Bharatanatyam Acharya for the Gurukula, Dwarita Akka's name stood out. A single phone call was all it took for him to know she was the one. But Dwarita Akka was unsure. Munitanna asked her to visit the Gurukula once and then decide. She came down with her husband and she knew she belonged here. Her husband, who was equally moved, told her, "Teach here for the rest of your life." In this episode of Samvada, let's meet Dwarita Akka and discover Bharatanatyam in all its festive and spiritual glory.
Akka, so why do you dance and why should anybody dance?
I dance because I like dancing. I think that was the calling that I had from a very young age. Just like how any other children are sent to various classes, my parents also sent me to all classes: music, dance, Hindi, Samskrita, and after a few years, I said, "Amma, I want to do only dance." So I used to dream dancing Alaripu in the first period, Jatiswaram in the second period. So that's how I entered dance, and I went into Kalakshetra, and I enjoy dancing. There's a lot of effort that goes into dancing, so unless you enjoy the act of dancing and the pleasure that it gives you, I don't think it's something that everybody can follow. So only people who are into who have a passion for dance should be dancing.
Okay. And for anybody else also, what happens when you dance?
So just like yoga, even in dance, first we work on the physique. We work on the angas, the angika. And then once the angas are conquered, or we are so comfortable with our body, then is when we move into songs. And as we move into songs, there's a lot of dhyana and manana that happens. There's so much of thought that goes behind portraying a character, studying about that character. So we learn and we imagine how the characteristics of our gods, the gods that we are praying to or we are depicting on stage. So adharali a lot of effort and energy goes into that, and slowly then once we understand the character and we are able to portray the character, that is when we dance on stage, we are able to rise above our physique and transcend into that plane where we feel one with the imagery that we are trying to portray, one with that sat that we are trying to portray.
Okay.
And hopefully that imagery, that sat, that when it comes out, people are able to connect with and they are also able to rise.
Okay.
So that's what happens.
It's like it's a process that happens within you, right? Like when you are dancing, the body is involved, the mind is involved, and the art grows in you, and you grow along with the art. Right? How is that process?
Exactly like what you said, the art grows within and we grow along with art. So time tested art form, and a lot of people have done this as a yoga. In fact, we have our Purvasuris calling this Natya Yoga, and it's not just a term randomly used. When they say Natya Yoga, they truly believe that we will be able to unite with the Sat through this path. Once you are comfortable with emotions, there are two ways in our dharma. So one is where you do not engage with your sensory organs, and you just sit and do dhyana, meditation. The other is where Nada Yoga and Natya Yoga comes in, where you are so much engaging your emotions, your sensory organs, and there is so much of it that you become so comfortable with your emotions, you understand your emotions, then you are able to raise above that. After a lot of mantana, you're able to raise above that, and that is when you get the ananda of this art.
Okay.
So this is a path that people can pursue to reach the Sat.
Okay, so this sensory organs that you are engaging in, so does it depend on person to person? Like only some set of people can, use this as a path to reach the ultimate, or is it like that?
It's like a double-edged sword.
Okay.
You have to be very conscious that you are exercising your sensory organs when you are dancing, while trying to keep your goal as the god. It's very easy to flip and fall.
Correct.
I think history is an evidence of how many people have slipped and fallen. So artists are prone to that, but when the goal or when the chit believes that this is where I want to be, this is where it should be, we work through this, then this can take you there.
Okay.
The goal should be clear. If the goal isn't clear,
Okay. So how have you kept your ego separate from that?
our scriptures, they talk about idam namama, this is not mine. Anta. So when we are brought up in a culture with the samskara that whatever I do is Krishna Arpanamastu, then I think the art will also go that way. Then there's no ego. We know we are nobody in this big wide universe, and once that realization happens, so it's not just about dancing. I think it's a lot about coming in the culture and with the people whom we are around with the samskaras that we have got from the house, from the society, from our previous janmas. So when we know we are nobody, then I think there's like no ego there.
Okay, when you're standing on stage, how is that? You forget this person that you are and then perform.
Yes, Akka. In case we don't forget who we are, then that is what we are showing. If I'm showing Dwarita on stage, I constantly carry the baggage of Dwarita. Then it comes with all the kalmashas, right? So I have to become distilled, and it should be Rama whom I'm thinking of, and it should be Rama whom I'm portraying. And when that happens, then it becomes, that is when people can connect. This, in a very technical form, Abhinava Bharati says that it is called Sadharinikarana, where there is a universalization that happens. At the spirit level, we become one. And when at the spirit level we become one, we lose the self-identity of I, me, you, yourself, stuff like that. So when we lose that, that is when somebody else can connect with us. It should feel like, oh, this is something that I know of. This is somebody whom I've met. It's not somebody like I don't know who that personality is. So for the audience who are watching us, this is what they should be able to feel. And that can happen only when I leave the baggage that I come with. I leave that baggage and I'm able to make it a glass-like thing where I'm allowing the light of Ananda to pass through me rather than becoming opaque and holding on to the light and reflecting only something. So,
would you call this another level of existence itself? Another realm that you go to when you're performing?
I don't know if it is another realm of existence, Akka, but this is definitely what the Acharyas have told us, the Purvasuris have told us. The texts talk about this much in detail, and they say only when you become a patra, a character, a patra, to hold the Ananda, the Sat, that is when you will be able to give it to the audience, give it henceforth. If you consume everything and you take it in, then you are, no, you can't, there's nothing to give because you've already consumed everything. You should just become the patra for it to flow down. So that's how the books write, that's how the our ancestors have told us, and with this intent in mind, when you go on stage, then you're able to transform that energy from there to the audience.
How is this progression when a child starts to learn dance? They wouldn't know all this. They would just start with Teyyum Tata and all that. No? And then how do they progress to this realm?
It's step by step, Akka. Physique again. You start with angas. You should be comfortable with your body to be able to move beyond your body. So everything starts with anga. That's how even in yoga we start with asanas.
Correct.
We start with exercises, and then slowly we talk about other areas. So ade tara dance allu it is, we start with adavos. Once you're comfortable, then slowly we think about as the songs get introduced, we talk about the character, the stories, the tatparya that the character holds. What is it in a bigger realm? What is the meaning of it? And how is it that you connect with that? And then there's a lot of dhyana that goes into how much. ಈಗ ರಾಮ ಯಾರು ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಟ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಆ ರಾಮ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾವ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿರುವಂತದ್ದು, what our Purvasuris have written, by seeing that and extrapolating that image, and Rama must have been like that. This is the way he must have spoken to his parents. This is the way he must have looked at his Kanta. Annodana must have nalle we build our own image of Rama. And when so much of thought to build an image on painting tagondrene, when you are seeing something and drawing, adike it takes hours. So imagine you've not even seen something, but you are drawing an imagery of, he must have kept his head like this because that's how he must have spoken to his father. Imagery, slowly the child is introduced to that. Of course, with the acharya there to help the child think this way, and also showing the different perspectives that have been given in our shastras. So once the child sees all this slowly, and once they understand what it is, this is not something where you just sit and it's not like a message that you can tell. It should come from within, and that within will happen only with much practice. Sadhana, that's why it's called sadhana. That sadhana of both mind, emotion, body, at various levels, this sadhana works. And it has to be one after the other, and slowly the child will progress. And then sometimes it's a realization we see the teachers doing, and we wonder why we are unable to do, or somebody is not able to do like that person. What is it that this somebody is missing? Technically both of them could be correct. In fact, many times people who have transcended, they don't look into the technique so much. So though their technique is not as perfect, somebody else's technique is very perfect, yet I am not getting the experience that this person is able to give. Anta, once the child becomes old enough to analyze, that is when the revelation happens. Then is when the dots get connected. Oh, this is what my mom said, this is what happened, this is what the book says. And once the dot gets connected, it's a beautiful image.
Akka, you mentioned sadhana. How do you explain sadhana?
Sadhana for us at a very laukika level is practice.
Okay.
So as dancers, we have to practice every day. So I tell my students that like food, they have to every day thrice at 3 meals a day tara, it should be every day practice. And once they have practiced the movements and they have become comfortable with their movements, then when they start thinking about the lyrics that they are dancing, the characters that they are bringing into view, into portray, our characters bagir, once they start thinking about it, then they read multiple sources, of course with the acharya's guidance, and the acharya should also be able to tell as to where they can find these information, and probably help them in the portrayal of it. So even something, when you see something and draw, it takes you hours of time to do the same thing. Imagine you've not seen Rama at all, but then you're trying to portray Rama. So keeping the scriptures in mind, you're wondering as to Rama tale hege itkondirbodu. This is maybe how he must have spoken to his mother. This is probably the way he looked at his wife. Tara imagining so much about those characters and trying to portray them, that gives them these layers of understanding. So that is also important. Understanding or practice at the level of the physics, practice in the
Mentally.
mind,
Mm.
mental practice of thinking of the emotions, thinking of those characters, thinking for the values that those characters stood for,
Mhm.
and what our elders have told us through these characters.
Correct.
Because many a times what the lyrics
Mm.
talk about,
Mm.
what meets the eye is not what it was meant to be.
Mhm.
There are layers which are inherently hidden, so only a seeker can realize
Okay.
what it is.
Mhm.
And as dancers, we need to realize those layers and bring it out in portrait.
Okay.
So when a dancer has gone through that process,
Mhm.
I think that is when the dancer actually becomes
Okay.
capable of enlightening not only herself, also the audience.
Okay. How has your sadhana shaped your view for life, attitude towards life? Let's say loss or triumph or change, all those aspects of everyday life.
I don't know, Akka. I don't think I should be judging myself.
No, it's just a reflection on how it has helped you to.
I think it has helped me definitely to deal
Mm.
with things better.
Yeah.
Whichever way, it has helped me to deal with things better.
Mm.
When we do constantly read about how we must be
Mhm.
like the water on the lotus leaf,
Ah,
detached
Mhm.
attachment,
Mhm.
to do your kartavya,
yeah.
but still not take the phala as yours.
Mhm.
ಆ ತರ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ when we, I think I am detached.
Yeah.
Detached to the result of whatever it is.
Result. Mm.
So I am able to kind of handle things better. You do know that one day this is,
Mm.
even if it's the worst point, you know there is going to be a shift. And then I think success has no more, has lost its
its-
charm.
okay.
Yeah, we are not looking at success at a very laukika level.
Okay.
We know this is not what is required.
Mhm.
And the ananda that you get out of this art,
Mm.
I think tells you
Mhm.
what is it that you should go behind.
Mhm.
It is not money, fame,
Mm.
illa.
Okay.
I think so much we've understood.
Mhm.
Sometimes,
Mm.
I mean, we are still in the process. So sometimes it does make you wonder, why not me? But I think at most times,
Yeah.
I am able to tell myself,
Okay.
trying.
When you're teaching your children, also this comes up.
Yes, Akka, I constantly keep telling them that even if I am not already there, I say, "Okay, this is where we should be going at
Ah.
least."
Mm.
So tell them where they should go. Don't go behind these momentary pleasures
Mhm.
of money or fame or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Momentary pleasures, because this is a field where there's a lot of limelight.
Correct.
Stage is where 1,000 eyes are watching you at any given point of time.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get into your head
Mhm.
that I am the center of attraction. Everybody's looking at me.
Mhm.
But then to stay rooted at that place and
Mhm.
say, I am here because he sent me
Yeah.
here, and I am here to
Mm.
take you or to tell you where you should go.
Mhm.
I am only a patra ಅಂತ
Yeah.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ that
Yeah.
I think
Mm.
ಅಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. I am just hoping
Yeah.
over a period of time I'm able to live
Mhm.
like that.
Is that the reason you became an acharya?
Oh, I don't know. That's the reason that I became an acharya. I started off teaching Akka because I thought the treasure trove that our acharyas have given us,
Mhm.
our purvasuris have given us,
Mm.
somewhere in between it is kind of getting, not reaching it with the right attitude to the
Mhm.
next generation.
Mhm.
So when that is the case, I thought it is time that even if 4 people I can change, even if 4 people I can give them the art with the right purpose,
Mhm.
knowing this is what it is meant to be, this is what our purvasuris have told. And if I'm able to give at least to 4 people, they in turn will do their 4 into 4, 16 and henceforth.
Yeah.
So I thought, that is when I thought I should get into teaching,
Mm.
and teaching at grassroots level. There's no point trying to educate people who are outside this realm, trying to, you can't bring public awareness.
Correct.
That's not what I want to do.
Mhm.
I want to bring in better dancers, dancers who know why they are dancers,
Mm.
dancers who know what is meant to be a dancer,
Mm.
the responsibility of a dancer, and somebody who will preserve the tradition that our acharyas have given us.
Correct.
So that means we need to train them right from Tattadavu,
Mhm.
give them the right perspective of dance,
Mhm.
tell them that it's not the glitter that they should be behind.
Yeah.
Tell them that these are the values that should go with it. So that is when I thought I should become a teacher and start teaching the children.
Okay. And the ideal shishya, you said you have to start when they are really young, right? So are you able to identify that, who has the right attitude and maybe not this person of that?
Not at a young age, Akka. At the young age, I think all of them, they just want to come and shake their hands and legs and then enjoy the movement. So at that age, I don't think. But then over a period of time when they are with, I think, the right conditioning of mind, those shishyas, they will realize.
So this is moldable, you said.
The perspective is.
Okay.
But then as a dancer, if he has chosen you,
Okay.
only then, because art is not something that everybody can get. He must be ಅವನ ಕೃಪಾ ಕಟಾಕ್ಷ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಇದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಡಾನ್ಸರ್. ಒಂದು 4 times ಓದಿದ ನಂತರ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ತರ ಅಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಯೋರ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್. ದಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ rigor and practice. So if that has to be the case, then it has to be his daya. I have seen over my whatever years of experience that there are children who are from here, they want to, they are willing to practice also, but then avana daya illa andaga ನಾವ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೇನೋ we cannot. So ಆ time ನಲ್ಲಿ I do call for their parents and say the calling is not here.
Okay.
Please ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ. Maybe it's not here, maybe it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
So wherever it is, if the child is putting that amount of same practice or same passion, same number of hours, investing the same number of hours into what is their calling, then they're obviously going to be better there than trying to do something where it's not his wish. If it's not his wish, who are we to do anything?
It's just another path that you have to choose.
Which is your path, where is the calling, another nodebeku. So when I can see that some children are not meant to be here doing this, then I think it's my duty to inform the parents. So I call it.
Okay. Here at Vidyakshetra, this this kala is it's a core of the curriculum, not an extracurricular activity, right? So all children go through. Yes. Why did this become the core? It's not like something else is important or this is not important. No, this is equally important, right? That's the
So in the Bharatiya Sanskriti, we had various ways of reaching God, and Kala was one, and this was realized by our ancestors. So there were a lot of people who have done this, who have taken this form and gone further, lived their life.
Okay.
And also roti, makan, kapda, whatever. That's the basic, right? Only when you can rise above that, you can think of kala and then spirituality, adhyatma. ಸೊ ಆ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಒಂದು ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕಲಾ ಇಸ್ possible. So any given point of time in the society, there are various people at various levels. So kala should also be a part of the society where it is catering for the person who's managed to do his roti, makan, kapda, and is able to, okay, now next what? There is a thirst, there is a yearning, there is a jignasa inside that he is wanting to cater for, and kala will cater at that level. So it is important that every society has artists also. And ಇದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜೀವನ ದೃಷ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇತ್ತು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ. That is why kala was given importance. And Vidyakshetra, being true to the Bharatiya culture, they have made kala a very integral part of their curriculum. There are two things that I would like to say. Ramayanadalle they talk about how when Rama goes away from Ayodhya, they talk about how kala ಇಲ್ಲಾನೋ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಹಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋ ತರ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್.
emptiness.
So the soul is searching for something and it's not being satiated because there's no art there. ಅದೇ ತರ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಂತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ತರ ಒಂದು ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ we will know how important kala is to the society. And Vidyakshetra, keeping very true to the Bharatiya Jeevan Drishti, it has Kala as their one of the main curriculums. And when Munit Anna and Preeti Akka came first time to me and they said, we want to create artists and can you come and teach? My first thing was like, syllabus? Because I was having worked in different schools and colleges and all that. My first thing was like, Anna, syllabus? Exam? I was like, exam wala illa. I think that is the beauty of Vidya Kshetra, that every child is able to take the art in their speed. Not everybody is same. How can we have a syllabus and say, 6 ತಿಂಗಳ ಒಳಗೆ everybody should learn this, 1 year ಒಳಗೆ everybody should learn this, after this exam, that exam, 1 year you have to be able to give that exam? No, it's not possible. And that we have realized it very beautifully. The visionaries that they are, they have realized it, and that's why it's such a pleasure being here and teaching the children here, that I can take every child at her own pace. I'm not pressurized to complete a syllabus, and it's very beautiful to see that each of them bloom in their own space. Everybody has their own space and time to bloom. So that vision, I think, is very nice. Hopefully, like what Munitana keeps saying, we want this to become another Kalakshetra or another place where there is an Acharya coming from the Vidya Kshetra grounds. Hopefully Swami will take us there and we will be able to create students who are from Acharyas, who were students of Vidya Kshetra, who rise up and become Acharyas, who can lead the next generation with the right attitude. Not just dance, because teaching Teyate is not a big deal.
Correct. Yeah.
Being able to give that perspective is
The first time I saw you was when I was just passing by the Vidyalaya and you were teaching them.
And you were telling one of the students, dance as if Krishna is there. Krishna is right in front of you. Dance as if he is there. It is such a nice feeling for me, standing and watching from outside. I'm sure, that class itself will have, such a spiritual experience it should be, right?
It should be. That's ideally what we are working towards. Again, every class is a mantana that happens inside the mind of the child. So when we tell that, imagine how Krishna must have stood. Imagine how Yashoda would have looked at Krishna. So the moment you start thinking, then there's so much of his qualities, so much of internal churning that happens inside the head. I think that's the most beautiful thing that our arts have. It could be a repeat. I keep telling this often because this is the truth of the art. Our arts are like Kanta Samhita. So there are 3 ways wherein which are spoken about in our scriptures. Prabhu Samhita, so dictating like a leader or a Prabhu, a lord. Then there's Mitra Samhita, so it's like, come, chalo, tu bhi karo, main bhi karti. So that's like a friend. Then there is this Kanta. Kanta is the wife. Okay, she knows what exactly to do to get him to do what she wants him to do. So this our arts, all our arts are like Kanta Samhita. So it might look like you're doing Krishna ni begane baro some 100,000 times, where you're holding Krishna ni begane baro anta. But every time you hold your head or hand like this, so then every time you are thinking or mulling over the Krishna, right? So there is so much of manana, dhyana, without our knowledge that happens, manthana that happens inside us, that we become better personalities. We become better human beings.
Correct.
And our art is capable of doing that. It's capable of disciplining. It's capable of bringing time management, bringing all these chota mota things into place. The discipline of practicing every day. How with all your other chatavatikis you're still able to manage to do these things. So time management, perfection, lines, bends, physical fitness. So there is so many things that that our art can give, and without making it look like, okay, so this is exercise time, so you have to exercise. It just gives without us knowing we are doing this, like a Kanta, how a Kanta does. So Mamata says this is how art should be, and we should take the audience also who are watching us without their knowledge towards the Paramatma. We should guide them towards that Ananda, and without them knowing that they are sitting and listening to one. It's not from here, but it's from here that they are attracted. So it's Kala is Chitta Vritti Vilasa. Chitta Vritti and it's Vilasa. Through happiness, enjoyment, through entertainment, you are educating them as to what it should be.
Okay.
So,
What would you say to people who are missing out on exposing themselves to art? Not just performing, but as listeners or viewers or all. What is it that people who are away from art are missing?
I don't think anybody can be without art, without entertainment, because except they're not inclined towards classical art.
Okay.
They are definitely looking at art. All these are nothing but works of art, right? Some
Correct,
meme, something that you're seeing is a work of art. But what is this art pushing you towards, or what is this art intending to give in you, to create in you, is where our classical arts or the Bharatiya arts and the other arts differ. We cater to a higher realm.
Correct.
We cater to not lilting the audience, but kind of like making them rise above their laukika and at least think at that moment when they're watching the art.
Yeah.
At least at that moment, think of art.
Yeah.
If you cannot think constant, at least then. So there's no one who's not exposed to art. I think right from Bollywood movies to any movie, any drama, theatre, ellanu.
Yeah.
But classical art alli iruvantaddu is, I wouldn't say again, every artist who's performing on stage is doing justice to this ideology. Ideally, this is how it should be. And there are people who are doing that. There are people who haven't reached that spot yet. So when they haven't reached, they can't.
Take somebody else.
Yeah, they can't guide you. So I would say, think of what's the purpose of the art. Is that purpose being catered to in? And if it is, then fine. If it is not, then think, is it right to be investing time on something that is pushing you towards the loka again? We're already in this loka. We're already in the sagara. Shouldn't we rise above this?
Correct. But how do you identify which is according to my goals or taste, or maybe Bharatanatyam, maybe it is tabla? How do you identify?
Akka, Bharatanatyam or tabla or music for that matter, adella, all of them we come from the same family. Akka. Nothing wrong in either following this or that, right? So the other bagar chinte alla. I think the biggest problems for us is the modern, the so-called fusions, the so-called modern art, the so-called where again we are looking at reality in a very realistic way. You might as well see reality.
Yeah.
So if it's just an imitation of what is reality, then might as well see this. Why are we even seeing it on a canvas?
Correct.
So art is not meant to do that. So I think that you should be blessed enough in your Purva Janmas, and only if you are blessed will you even be able to realize that am I moving in circles or am I moving forward? So that's all I can tell. It feels a little bad that most people are not aware of the pleasure or the beautiful ananda that could come out of this art. And we are watching something which triggers our lowest emotions rather than triggering our highest.
Correct. Yeah. Would you call something a dharmic art or adharmic and all that?
I think the dharmic aspect of it lies in the artist and the intention of the artist.
Okay.
Even with the modern painting, modern art, you can still, if the intent is clear, you can still help people. You can still, as a person, rise. But if the intent is not, so that goes the same way for any art. It is the artist and the intent of the artist. And I think the intent will be clear only when the goal is clear. If the goal is not clear, where you should go, if the destination is not clear, then everybody's in the same saga.
Correct. Yeah. And the goal evolves. Not everybody is aware of where you want to get, right? And it evolves over time.
It does. Sometimes it's like very short-term goals. Where you're like, "Acha, okay, this one." But I think on the larger plane, if it is for the Paropakara, if it is for the Samashti, if it is for the world, and you know you're only a tool for this, then I think your goal is in the right place.
Okay.
If it is not the Samashti, if it is only I, me, myself, then I think your goal is not in the right place.
Okay.
And as the human being evolves, I think they should know, ideally at least, they should know what is the way.
The Samashti is an important part of the art, right?
Very much. Our Shastra Granthas, all of them, they are very clear in saying, don't dance for yourself. It is for creating rasa. And rasa creation can happen only when it is for others. So it's not only about you and your progress of then you can practice at home. Then it is more or less it's just your work.
Correct.
But art is not only meant for one person's upliftment, it is for the upliftment of the society. So when you have to take it to others, help people, that is when your art is.
There's so much of selflessness in art.
It should be that way. If it is not that way, then I think the purpose is not right.
Akka, this selflessness, how has this been handed over generations through our Guru Shishya Parampara? And how do you see it in Vidyakshetra also? This selflessness being, slowly, the children being introduced into this wonderful art.
I think Vidyakshetra, true to a modern day Gurukulam it is. Most other places when we see dance being taught in institutions, every teacher comes, they have a 1 hour slot, so they teach and they leave, and that's all it is. And 1 year hence it could be another teacher who's coming in, or the children are sent to another class. So that's how it works outside. But the Guru Shishya Parampara had a student growing under a guru, right from the day she was initiated to the day when the Acharya feels that you can become another Acharya and you can go further and teach and get in other students. So that journey has been there only in our Bharatiya Jivan Drishti. Only our Samskriti has had this guru who trains literally Kaliman Bala, clay. They come like clay and they are molded. So it's not only the art, but they learn from all perspectives. Whatever we were talking about just now about how an art should be, how an artist should be, what is the duty of an artist, or what is the ideal art form, or what is the intent of an art form, all this comes not just through pravachanas, not just by that is definitely an integral part where the teacher explicitly teaches the student, but then as an acharya, when you believe and behave in a certain fashion, the child without knowing absorbs that. That is why they are called acharyas. The achara, whatever they are doing in their life, comes into the child. And if and when the art is transformed like that, then the intent is very clearly transformed to the child. And at Vidyakshetra, it's very beautiful to see that there is one teacher, one Kaksha Acharya who takes responsibility across years, and how even interaction with the Kala Acharyas, when we come in, and every teacher personally takes interest in every child. When we deal with multiple classes here, so we do know that how in between they keep asking. Sometimes when they hear we are scolding the children or something, they come and stand. Alinda, they will watch who's the most mischievous. And sometimes in the class, if there is a child who's very mischievous, and all that I say, like, I'm going to complain about you to your Kaksha Acharya, and then the child is like back in place.
Yeah.
So it is so beautiful to see the Guru Shishya Parampara here and how that Guru takes complete responsibility of the child. As though it's like a father to a child, like a mother to a child. Even later in life when we do something,
Yeah.
it's always credited to the parents. Alva.
Yeah.
Hange. So our Guru who takes you in their care and defines not only your personality, defines your knowledge, gives you that complete framework. So beautiful to see at Vidyakshetra. And here once the children choose vritti, Bharatanatyam as a vritti, then they are completely under us. So we talk to the parents and then we become the anchors, and the child, we have a tab on each child and what they are doing and what are the other classes that they are learning. So it's so beautiful to see that everything, all things needed for this art come together. So we tell Illa ee magu has to learn Carnatic music. Now that she has started getting into items, she needs to learn Carnatic music. Only then she'll be able to understand the music and be able to dance to that. So all these things, it is left to the Acharya. It is left to the I think Guru is too big a word, but at least it's left to the Acharya. So when this is what our parampara was about, of the Guru giving without holding back, giving it to the Shishya and the Shishya taking everything in and then slowly living up to it and becoming Gurus themselves.
Akka, is there something about dance, about kala that we don't know, but you always wish that everybody should know this?
So yes, Akka, I would like to actually talk about the theory, the importance of our shastras. So somewhere down the line, because it's a performing art and it's the performance that meets the eye, most people are either happy just performing or they are okay, we are talking about Rama and Krishna in our performance, so we are actually doing what it's supposed to be doing, and most people settle down to that. But then I think the number of texts that were written which deal about various small concepts which all integrate to become this art. I think those are not being read. One probably is because Samskrita education has come down, so children are unable to, I wouldn't want to say children, even artists are unable to read the original script and understand what it is. We are so dependent on the translations, the commentaries. So there is that lacuna that is there in this field. And it's so heartening to see that Vidyakshetra is training the children in Samskrita, in Samskrita grammar, in Samskrita Sahitya, Kavya. So the children will be able to read the Shastras in its original form without the adulteration of a translation. They will be able to understand what the Kavi actually intended or what our Shastrakaras intended through those works and understand the layers that are there to this art form. I think that is something that currently is quite overlooked, and people are very happy doing just pataka at the Angika level. So hopefully with more students coming from Vidyakshetra who are taking up this as their vritti, we will see some real work happening.
Going in depth.
Real in depth.
Really. Akka, it's been so lovely to talk to you, and I feel I am part of the art now. It's a journey that you have taken me also. You've taken everybody who's listening also. Dhanyavada. May all the blessings be upon you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking, and I really hope it was not boring to the people who are watching, and if we can inspire more people to be in this path.
Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu.